All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great Monday. I'm with my man Matt, talking some hoops. 5 games on tap, 7 Eastern, 7:30, 7:30, 9. And yeah, making sure these time zones got me all messed up. And 10 Eastern over here. It's now it's a 3-hour gap from the Eastern time zone where my friend Matt's at. But yeah, 5 games, 3-hour window. We're talking some important Q tags. There's not too many injury news on the slate, but the Q tags that are there. Let's see if we can I can't search it by that. Let's see. There we go. Jamal Murray, Ace Bailey, Chet, Keontae George, Will Richard, and then yeah, these two don't matter. But of the Q tags, very, very important ones, and a very similar slate, kind of similar slate to last Monday when I was on the show with Matt. Jokic was pretty much the only spend, and he absolutely busted. And yeah, I want to hear, we were talking a little pre-show, and then we decided to go live because Matt had a story for us. So first, how you doing today, Matt? And then what are your thoughts on this 5-game slate? And yeah, last Monday, let's throw it back. I want to hear a story.
Yeah, so doing well. Well, was doing well before we started talking, because now it's just like DFS horror stories for me right here. But all kidding aside, doing well, man. Love these Monday shows. Obviously, it was a good night for me last night in the NBA street, so feeling good. Could have been an amazing week. So last Monday night, I think it was last Monday night. It must have been because Jamal was the pivot. So that was the night. It was the night that, what's his name? Ron Harper Jr. didn't start. So I played 3 lineups. I liked Usman Dieng a little bit over Hugo Gonzalez. So I played 3 lineups. I played Usman Dieng mostly over where I had Ron Harper Jr. And then I saw Rio put Hugo Gonzalez in his core. Made me rethink things. I changed one lineup. I had Hugo Gonzalez in, but in my one main one, I played Usman Dieng over Hugo Gonzalez, and the lineup would have finished really, really high in basically every contest. But the kicker is, we were talking about qualifiers before this. I never play qualifiers and haven't for the Fantasy Basketball World Championship in a couple years. I just decided it's not really part of my game I want to go forward with. So I also don't really play qualifiers like for tournaments, like for the 3-3-3-3 or 4-4-4-4, etc. It's just not really something I do. But someone in the Discord that night posted that like all the qualifiers for those tournaments were like half fill, and it was like a couple minutes before lock. So I decided to enter all of them. Long story short, that one lineup that I had Jamal over Jokic, if I play Hugo Gonzalez over Dieng, I would have won all those qualifiers. Finished like second in the whatever big tournament it was that night. The only good thing is someone from Ship It won all those qualifiers. All so right. We'll take that. I would have beat him by like a point. That wouldn't have felt good. So I'm glad at least he got it. He can have some fun when those tournaments come out and hopefully win a milli.
Yeah. So yeah, those satellites, Tambo preaches those a lot over there.
The satellites, yes.
Yep. And shout out to you. I mean, Matt, won $17,500 yesterday. Very big congrats to you in the 555 grinding NBA. That's weekend NBA content. Matt's on there helping everybody out as well as core report you can find on the site constantly. But even he just said he looks at Rio's core. He looks at the content on the site. That's part of his process. And that's the really cool thing over here. Multiple high stakes crushers. But yeah, I mean, we value each other's opinions. We do have the DVP rankings for this year's data for the last 2 weeks. Slate plan that Rio's on today to check out. Even though he's not on the show, he puts in the work and you can check that out. Again, Matt, Rio, and Ham's core here. My cash core, the Stone, of course. Little next slate plan for the showdown game. That will be for the Knicks and the Clippers tonight, which will definitely be a good basketball game. So, yeah, we'd love to have you at the Nation. Awesome stuff by Matt yesterday, 17.5K. And, yeah, now the prizes are a little bigger on this Monday, so hopefully you can run it back. I know Rio will be in there as well. Shout out to Ghostman as well. It was $700, I believe, or $750 in the FanDuel after hours slates. Plenty of screenshots throughout the afternoon. We'd love to have you. Sean Sullivan's in here. a member, coach is a member, wins a lot of familiar faces. Hope you three are doing well. Mighty in here, Daryl, Clint, Chris, William, Michael, Gangrene, Brittany. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us. All we ask, like button, subscribe button. It does help us out a ton. And again, you can get into the nation for as low as $9 for the day. The best deal, though, 4 more days for $10 more. You do get Saber Sim, which you get on the daily pass as well, but you get Discord. And then, yeah, if you get 5 days for $19, it'll take you through the players for golf. Massive prize pools. We'll have you covered. Best content in the industry, no doubt about that. Cheech has tested the ownership projections 3 weeks in a row. Maybe it's 4 now that we have been number 1 for everything he has tracked. And obviously, as you know, ownership, a very crucial part of the DFS landscape. So we love it. MMA, NASCAR going on, NHL still going on as well. Next thing you know, MLB will be here. And we would love to have you in the Discord. Philly Phantom, Ricky, hope you two are doing well as well. Any thoughts on this 5-game slate besides, actually, I'm going to ask, thoughts and broad slate overview. And then do you have any leans on these Q tags that are pretty important on this slate? Obviously, we have Jamal Murray 30 minutes after lock. So hopefully we do get that one before, but yeah, like a Keontae George and Ace Bailey, Chet, any thoughts on those injuries? A couple of them are illnesses.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I don't have any strong leans. Like, I want to say I'd be surprised if the majority of those guys weren't out, but I don't have a lean here, like either way. It's just my gut call there. So I really don't know.
Are you gonna like, how are you gonna build? Assuming like the Keontae George, we got Collier. We're not gonna get that news before these first couple games lock. I'm kind of just gonna assume they don't play. Like at the end of the day, Utah wants to lose, but are you gonna go in and like pretty much zero out their projections and project the game like they are out? Or are you just going to kind of keep it normal? And then if you keep it normal, probably by default, you're going to get a lot less of that game as you would if you did take out Keontae and Collier.
That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to play it right now. I do I guess you asked me if I lean the Utah guys, like namely Keontae, don't play because of what you said. Like they're trying to lose. Questionable. Why is he going to play? He's missed a bunch of games anyways. So, yeah, I think you can zero him out. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So shout out to William. There you go. According to our man Cheetah, you might have put in the Discord, maybe up on the slate plan, but he thinks they're out. And Rio is a Utah guy, always in tune there. And yeah, I mean, it makes sense. At the end of the day, they don't want to win. And I was kind of just looking at the spread, 6.5. Yeah, I feel like it would be closer if Keontae was in. So that's my lean as well. And I do think it's probably a pretty good idea to project like they are out. And then you can bump the Utah guys. We'll talk about all that when we get there. And then at the end of the day, I mean, some of the Utah, they'll still be in play. Like you won't love it nearly as much when you get there. But I do think you could get a little ownership discount. I'm not sure how many will be preparing the start of the slate. Like there's enough value with like Memphis stuff where that's where people are going to go for value. Utah can be a little pivot off of that, and I think it might be under owned, especially if the news does break your way. And Rio said that, right there in the slate plan. So I think that's a little tidbit right there, and that's all we will give because got to keep some for the members over here. But yeah, anything else for you, Matt, to talk about? Obviously, we do have spends on the slate: Jokic, Shea, Kawhi, D. Mitch. Definitely some value. If I sort by point per dollar, Memphis, Philly, Brooklyn, Memphis, Brooklyn. Feels like a pretty straightforward slate in terms of where roster construction is going to go. But yeah, anything before we go game by game?
Yeah, I saw someone in the Discord like earlier this morning post. So how much Memphis, Brooklyn is too much? Man, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. Like, there's a lot in play in that game. I don't know. You said it's kind of like last night in a sense also. Like there was a game I liked last night that in the lineup I played that was really good. I had like 6 pieces from the Chicago-Sacramento game. I could see it being that type of slate here with Memphis-Brooklyn. Just a really good game from a DFS perspective.
I like it. Yeah, we'll go game by game. I do think you can not maybe cross off teams, but definitely you can limit like max 1 on some spots and load up on some others. I do think it's more of a clear slate that way. So we will go to the first game of the night. Philadelphia 76ers, let me zoom in quick, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. We have 13.5-point favorites are the Cavs, 226.5 total in this one. On the Philly side, no Edgecombe, no Tyrese Maxey, no Embiid, no Paul George. So their best players are all out, which is why they're big underdogs. On the Cleveland side, no Jarrett Allen. Yeah, just looking at the value in this game, the first 6 guys, point per dollar, are all on the Philly side. And obviously that'll happen. No Maxey, Embiid, Paul George, Edgecombe. When your best players are all gone, you're going to be, or all missing, you're going to be big underdogs, especially to a good team like Cleveland. And you're going to have some viable pieces for cheap. And yeah, just look at 6.4K, 6K, and the rest are below 5K. So Philly is a spot people will get to value. And then on the Cleveland side, I mean, this is one of those spots that I don't necessarily know on a 5-game slate if you just need to hit the complete X, but a max 1 Cleveland I think makes a lot of sense to me. And I think my favorite would be, I don't know, either D-Mitch or Mobley, and just hope like that's kind of probably Mobley just because he's like farther away from the Shays or the Kawhi, the Shays of the world, where you get a little price discount. But yeah, I mean, you're the Cleveland guy. I do not feel comfortable with them just because they probably aren't going to get their last rotation. Mainly interested on Philly and your take there. What do you see?
Yeah, I really want to disagree with you about Cleveland and only playing 1, but I can't because they're coming off a tough game against Boston yesterday where guys played full minutes. Now they get a much softer landing spot against Philly. So I'm with you. I think that the likely outcome here is Cleveland just rolls and these guys aren't stressed in the second half and don't get their final run. I'm with that. If it doesn't work out like that, and again, weird stuff happens in the NBA all the time. That's why, like, if I were playing 150, I don't think I would set that rule just because it's not like we have a ton of spend-up options tonight, and I wouldn't be shocked if 2 Cleveland guys got there. If I'm hand building, I'm with you. I'm not playing more than 1. I just don't know if I'd set that rule in 150 settings personally, but
I agree. I wouldn't. Okay. I like hardly set any rules in 150.
Yeah.
Most people out here probably aren't playing 150, so
right.
Trying to help narrow it down a little bit, but totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, because it's like if I'm playing 150, just side note, and like Saber is, and they're not going to give me a ton of lineups with more than 1 guy, but if they are, like I'm gonna ride with that. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm not playing 150. If I'm hand building, I'm not gonna play more than 1 Cleveland guy. If I play 1 at all, the 1 guy, if I do play, is definitely Mobley, to your point, though. Really hard with Harden and Mitchell there, both priced at their higher range for them being healthy. Mobley playing well, soft matchup. He should cook, but tough to prioritize him like with other guys, as you mentioned. And I don't really want to lock up early roster spots with injury news always looming. So from the Cleveland side, 1 Mobley or nothing probably for me. From the Philly side, I like it, but I don't love it. Like Grimes at 6K, Oubre at 6.4. I don't really want to spend on Philly here. Like, I get it. They're going to have to do everything, but I think they're really going to struggle. These guys aren't used to, and I don't think are up for handling like a full-time role against a team that's hungry coming off a pretty bad loss for them. So I get why Grimes and Oubre project well. They're both wildly in play. I might take an underweight stance personally. The other guys from Philly, like Bona, Watford, I get it. I just think we can do better tonight. So not going to be surprised. I'm sure someone from Philly is going to get there here, but I think they struggle offensively. I think Cleveland rolls here. I want to limit my exposure to this game. It's Mobley from Cleveland, and I get why the 2 6K guys are projecting well from Philly. I like the value more, but there's no one that I'm sitting here like I need to play.
Yeah, I think if I had to go with my favorite on the slate or like on the Philly side, I think it'd probably be Bona at ownership. I don't necessarily know if that 18% is true. It might be about true, but like that's half the ownership of Grimes and Oubre, and you did get a discount, and you feel a little better about him if it is a blowout in the 4th quarter that at least he gets some run. But I mean, yeah, Jokic probably the best spend on the slate. A lot of people will go there. Once you plug in Jokic, you only have 1 other spot to play a center if you do need. Drummond looks bad in this spot. Yeah, Grimes and Oubre, I mean, they're showing ownership, 40% almost for Grimes, 30 for Oubre. I'd prefer Oubre if choosing to get some of the ownership discounts. And if I am playing a D-Mitch or a Mobley or something like that, I'm probably more inclined to play Grimes or Oubre just because maybe they're the
100%,
ones keeping it close,
100%.
absolutely balling. But
Totally agree with that take.
yeah, and it's tough though. Like I said, some of the top four or top six value on this slate or in this game is all on the Philly side. But when 4.53 point per dollar is the best eye in Cleveland, that's obviously going to look that way. So it's not a game too many are going to go to outside of Grimes and Oubre. It's kind of how you see it there. But yeah, I think Bono would be a little interesting. Man, it is really tough to get to. Like even like Sam Merrill is priced at 5.4, Dennis Schroeder 5.2K. Like you can't even try and get the blowout run right or whatever it is on the Cleveland side there, and not even that those guys are the ones, but it's tough. Probably max 1 Cleveland and max 2 Philly, like in a hand build three entry max stuff, and even 2 Philly seems a little lot. No Payne. I played Payne last week, like at the end of the week, and man, their rotations are just so difficult as well. If you see, like, they're probably going to run out 10, maybe 11 guys is how I'm seeing it. Like, campaign in 2026 is not something I love doing too much, and I got burned last week, so maybe that's why.
Well, it's not even that for me. It's about how guard spots are at a premium on this slate. Like, I don't know, Memphis guards, spend up guards. Like, I don't really want to do a $4,500 campaign. Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think he's out of play, but he's not someone like I'm looking to roster personally. The Cleveland guy that like comes to mind when you mentioned like the blowout run is Keon Ellis. Okay. Man, he's 4,400. I just think Philly could be sloppy here, playing a bunch of young guys. He's going to be in the rotation regardless. He's gotten a bunch of blocks and steals since he's come to Cleveland. Like, he could have an upside game here, but man, that price tag, it's hard to get to anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that shout, like, for really, really large field stuff. 24 minutes, 26, 31, 28 the past 4 games. Yeah, he's always been known, like, for the Kings. The dude's just he's a scrappy defender. He makes his money that way. But, man, if you do get that wrong, like, if this game doesn't blow it or whatever it may be, you can be drawn really thin with Keon Ellis. So that's just a large field play. But
well, I think you could be I don't even know if you're drawing that dead in terms of minutes. I think you're mostly just drawing dead in terms of production, which he might, even if he gets the blowout run, like, not produce anyways. So, yeah, it's tough at that price tag. If you were under 4K, I'd be more interested.
Yeah, his usage is really, really bad. Like, he has to almost get there with the stocks and easy points. But, I mean, you're looking at like 7, 10, 8, 16% usage. Like, the dude, not a great fantasy point per minute guy by any means.
No,
100% can get away with fading this game. Probably the best route that we're seeing. And then, yeah, Memphis guards, they'll be a lot more popular. But like Pods, Melton on the Golden State Warriors side as well. If you do want to spend up, that's what Matt's talking about right there. Let's get to a better game for sure. Real life, absolutely. And DFS, it's a little better as well. The Denver Nuggets and the OKC Thunder on the Denver side. 2 important injury news. So Jamal's questionable, and we have Chet that's questionable. We hopefully will get this news before lock, with it only 30 minutes after, and I'm expecting it. Also for OKC, no Caruso, no Hartenstein. And on the Denver side, no new injuries news there. So, yeah, I mean, the appeal, the spends. Jokic, Shea, if Jamal Murray plays, those are like, it's hard to get to much value because these are healthy teams outside of, like, obviously Jalen Williams has been out for a long time, and Hartenstein as well. But OKC's deep. If Chet misses and if Jamal misses, then I'm more curious on your take on the secondary guys. If they're both in, I think you're just Chet, Jamal, Shea, Jokic, and then forget about pretty much everyone after that. I wouldn't mess with any of the secondary plays. If Chet misses, though, like, we don't talk about it as much, but like Jokic gets even a bigger boost. I mean, no one down low would be able to guard like Jalen Williams, Aaron Wiggins. I mean, who the heck would be able to guard Jokic in the paint? Absolutely no one. So Chet's a big injury news in terms of Jokic. Jokic is still a phenomenal play, but makes his job a lot easier down low. And then, yeah, Jamal being questionable, obviously big in terms of usage there. I'm going to throw it to you in the question, If Jamal misses, is there like a Bruce Brown, a Pickett, a Hardaway? Do those guys become in play? And then if Chet misses, do some of these secondary pieces like a Dort, possibly Jalen Williams, power forward eligibility, Wiggins, do they come in play? That's my main question for you. And then, yeah, you can take it how you see the game going.
I guess my response to you would be, if Chet is out, why would Jalen Williams and the Y not be, again, one of the best plays on the entire slate? With Hartenstein out also. I mean, we keep seeing it, like, even off the bench, monster games, presuming he starts. If Chet's out, I think you'll get like chalk Jalen Williams night again, just because he's still under 6K, presuming he's starting, power forward eligibility. It all sets up. I mean, he's the type of guy, again, unless I'm missing something here, if Chet is out, he could be like the 60, 70 percent owned guy tonight.
That'd be scary. I mean, 5,700's it's a real price tag. But I mean, he'd get the Jokic assignment. Jokic is really good at obviously drawing fouls that way.
They went at it last week, remember?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they had each other right on the throw. Yeah, of course. So I mean, yeah, I mean he definitely would be owned. 5,700.
You think I'm off?
Huh?
You think I'm off with his ownership if Chet is out?
I think with Danny Wolf being a very good power forward play that people will plug in, with Jokic obviously regardless being someone that people go to a lot. I think GG Jackson's pretty strong. Prosper's pretty strong. Yeah, I think it'll be a little lower than that. That's a really tough question though. Like I think it will be lower than 60 and 70 just because we
you're right.
value.
You're right.
But he's, I mean, him being power forward eligible will definitely eligibility definitely has him firmly in play. Because they just don't really have bigs. They'll need them to play minutes. But they went at it last week, and I'm nervous that like Jokic just gets these guys in foul troubles. The refs know what happened. The whistle's probably going to be a little tighter, and that you don't want to deal with foul trouble in this one. But yeah, go ahead, keep going.
I totally agree with you. Actually, after looking it over, there's just he's a real price now, which is kind of what your original point was, and other guys are cheaper. So he's not projected for ownership now. That is also like something that you can account for a little bit and why he won't be like crazy highly owned. But yeah, after thinking it out and hearing your points, I think he comes in maybe around 40% owned, and maybe that's high just because there are other really good power forwards on this slate. I think he is a really good play though. He just produces. If Chet is out with Hartenstein out, he's going to see a ton of those big man minutes, and he's good at everything from a DFS perspective. So that aside, I'm with you. If those guys are in, I'm not looking at any of the secondary players. If Jamal is out, makes Jokic look even better, obviously. All the guards that you mentioned are in play. I don't think any one of them is like a must play on this slate, though.
No.
There's just so many good guard plays. Like Hardaway with small forward eligibility, I'm cool with that. But it's Jokic and then a big drop off. So other Denver guys would be in play for me if I were playing a bunch of lineups. Smaller field stuff, not even sure I'd mess with it.
Man, I want to play Cam Johnson one of these days.
He's been awful for Denver.
Yeah, he has. He definitely has. Like they're gonna need. It feels like they're gonna, if they really want to do something in the postseason. Like I mean, they invested a decent bit into him. Like they need more than just the Aaron Gordons, Christian Browns, Jamal Murray, and Jokic when it gets to the Western Conference Finals when these dudes' legs start to go. Obviously, that's weird for Bruce Brown too.
What's weird for me with Cam Johnson is he's not the type of player I think I would ever think would like sink like this. He's the type of player where I feel like was really steady, never had the highest ceiling, always had a really high floor. And you think like him with his basketball IQ, I'm sure you've heard him speak, like he does the podcast and stuff. Like he's very intelligent, certainly from a basketball perspective. And it's weird that it hasn't worked out with Jokic. Like, doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Christian Brown, I think someone said in chat, let me pull it up right there.
He'd probably be my favorite. He's the most expensive of all those guys, though. Like, he's also a real tag, but he would look a lot better with Jamal out.
For sure. I mean, 30, 39, 32, 37, 45 minutes in the past 5 games. If there's no Jamal, he would take a lot more of the ball handling role as well. I think he'd be strong for sure at 5'3".
He might be the only guy that's like in play with Jamal in.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts there? Can you go there as a contrarian?
With those minutes, I think you can.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, talk about obviously point guard is Javon Small, but he's going to be like one of the most popular, if not the most popular play on the slate. Walter Clayton will also be popular at 4-6. Like he's a guard pivot kind of in that range. Obviously, you could play all three if you really want, but yeah, I mean, he's showing like no ownership on this slate. So I do think Christian Braun is pretty interesting. Even if Jamal's in, like you said, if he's out, definitely can fire some up. Aaron Gordon, if there's no Jamal Murray, or like what? How many minutes would you put him at? They got him at 25 right now to Sabre.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't think you can project him for much more than that. I think, honestly, it's probably between like 20, I would say like 23 and 25, maybe 24 to 26, but I think you're pushing it there. So at that tag,
that's 6'3".
It's tough, man. Like, it's just tough, especially like with Jokic in, like with Jamal out, it becomes more appealing, but with those minutes at that tag, it's just really, really tough.
Let's say you can talk. I mean, if you want to say anything about Jokic, you haven't really touched too much on Shea. I'm prioritizing Jokic more on this slate. I do think it is pretty difficult to go Jokic Shea teams with what we have right now. It's not my favorite way to go about it, especially because when you do go that way, like you're going to go to the same roster construction as everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how do you see yourself? You usually play 3 teams, 2 Jokic's, 1 Shea, 3 Jokic. Thoughts on that quick?
I like the idea of playing Jokic and Shea together, but I'm with you. I think you're pigeonholed so much in the rest of your roster construction. And a lot of the good plays on this slate aren't like 3K. They're like 4 to 5K to 6K. So it's like probably a little bit difficult. Certainly, I prioritize Jokic here. I do think Shea's in play, though. Like, he'll be way less owned. It's harder to get to him because just the guard position is so strong from a value perspective. Center, like, isn't that deep. But, man, saw it last Monday on a slate where we were talking, like, during the show, Jokic was projected for, like, 80% ownership. He only ended up being, like, 50%, but that's still high, and Murray was the guy you needed. So I like Jokic here. He's the priority for me, but you know, what happens when him and Jalen Williams start tussling and they both get tossed? Like, not going to happen most likely, but like all of a sudden, if you're sitting on a lot of Jamal Murray, you feel really, really good. If he's out, like Jamal that is, I have a really tough time getting away from Jokic just because he's going to do just everything. I think he wants it in this spot. I also like Shea, though. Again, like I got to reiterate, it's just a lot harder to get to him based on how this slate kind of shakes out, how the cookie crumbles on this slate, I should say, because of the guard position.
It's easier to get to Shea on FanDuel, and ownership will show that he's 10.9K on FanDuel versus 12.7 on DK. 12.7 on FanDuel is Jokic, 10.9 is Shea. You can obviously only play one center on FanDuel, which usually then limits Jokic's ownership a little bit. And that's a big gap. That 1,800 does go a long way over there. So because of roster construction wise and the salary, I do think a little easier on FanDuel, but ownership will show. Last thing, let's say Chet's in. Can you make it? 8.7 is a big price tag, but he's going to be low owned. There's no doubt about that. Can you make a case for him in chalkier teams?
Yeah, as a pivot, I guess. Like, you know, I think he's the only endearing thing I have to say about him at 8.7 with Shea in is that he's a really good player and can get there on any given slate, but there's nothing about like his price tag projection that makes me like want to play him. I mean, you talk about a real tag, like 8.7 for him, like doesn't project close to 40 DK points. Like doesn't mean he can't put up 50, but if I'm playing like one lineup, he's not in it. Like no way.
His last game against Denver, he played 37 minutes, which was one of the most minutes he's played.
He smashed.
Yeah, he absolutely smashed. And I mean, he only had 8 field goal attempts. Why he smashed those? He had 21 rebounds.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're gonna need his size down there for sure if he does play there. But I mean, you can go to the game before against Denver. I think he scored like 28 DK points. So it's just a really, really contrarian tag. And if you're playing all the Memphis values, if you like Oubre and Quentin Grimes, you get to Jokic, like it's a way to get different.
You know,
at the end
I agree with that. Because the other thing about it is the reason I'm hesitant to even want to play him at all is because I think his floor is super low. But like in large field tournaments, like you're playing for that ceiling. And I think he's got it. So to your point, if you're playing a ton of chalk, I don't hate it as like the one contrarian piece, but know that you're paying up to be contrarian.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. All right, we'll keep it rolling. We got $1.99 donation from Yobi Trice. Appreciate that. What Grizzlies guards are you getting, Spencer? No minutes. Let's get right into that game. We'll answer that question. The Memphis Grizzlies and the Brooklyn Nets. Let me click here quick. Looking at 1.5 point favorites for the Grizzlies, the closest on the slate, 220.5 total. All of these totals are within 220.5 and 231.5, so no big difference there. But two spreads. This game 1.5, and then Clippers Knicks 2.5. Otherwise, it's 6.5, 6.5, 13.5. So you get the closest spread on the slates, and you definitely get the most injuries because on the Memphis side, Ty Jerome, Scottie Pippen, and Taylor Hendricks all doubtful, as well as Cedric Howard. And then on the other side for the Nets, no Michael Porter Jr., no Igor Demon. So yeah, I mean, just sorting by value, look at all this. The whole page so far projects for over 5x on the slate. Going by ownership, a lot of ownership going to this game. Part of that has to do with, let me quick filter. All right, one player in this game is priced over 6K. Like this is what, I mean, someone has to do something for their price tag at the end of the day. It's really, really hard to ignore this spot. I think you're absolutely doing it wrong. If you're using SaberSim as an optimizer to build teams, you are probably at least getting 2 Memphis minimum, and you might get as many as 5 Memphis. So I'm curious to hear your take there. And then the Brooklyn side, I think it's maybe a little worse, but man, you're still without Michael Porter Jr. There's no Igor Demon. It's almost like a -1 Nets, almost a -2 Memphis. And yeah, that's kind of why I'm talking about trying to find ways to get different, because fading the chalk game usually is not the way to get different. NBA DFS, definitely for me, not on this 5-game slate.
Yeah, so I'm with you. Like I'll preface this by saying there are ways where this game duds. These teams stink, and they don't have really good players on either side.
Do you think there's a way? There's outcomes where like
let me finish. Because I'm like, that said, even when the game duds, like there's at least a couple guys from each side getting there because of the price tags here. So if this game plays out like it normally does, there's a handful of guys on each side getting there. If it plays out and it's like a really, really good game, you probably need 6 or 7 pieces from this game. So my point is that if it does, maybe you only need like 1 or 2 pieces from each side. What were you going to say?
No, yeah, this is laughing, right? Rightfully. So I was going to say the price tags. This game could be the worst game ever. It could score 199 DFS points. I mean, when the highest price guy is 6.4K and it's 5.5 and below, like 5 guys are going to be on the court on both sides at the end of the day. I mean, it's only a 24-second shot clock. Like it's, even if these guys can't make anything, someone's getting there with rebounds alone, right, something like that. So it's super
turnovers.
wonderful.
Like even in a low total game, you could have a ton of turnovers in this game. Both these teams are sloppy. They're young. They don't play good defense. So it does look like Memphis is more appealing than Brooklyn. And I agree with that. When they have these guards out, Jerome and Pippen, it's so hard not to just lock in Small and Clayton. Clayton's my favorite. I'm just a big fan. Shooting guard eligible. Really nice tag at 4,600 in this spot with those guys out. Small has been really productive. Cam Spencer with the small forward eligibility now to go along with the shooting guard, but the small forward really helps. I don't know.
8 guys.
Yeah. I mean, all 3 of those guys look elite. You talked about Gigi Jackson, power forward eligible, like Omax. Jalen Wells is one guy like I never want to play, and he'd probably be the odd man out for me, but he is going to be the odd man out for like a lot of people. He'll still be owned high enough where like I don't feel the need to play him in like the small field stuff, or like, you know, if I'm playing 3 lineups in one of those 3, but certainly in play, they got 8 guys. He's under 5K. They're going to have a bunch of guys get there here, most likely. Maybe all of them get there. This is definitely a spot where literally every single one could get there at their price tags. So they're all in play. Ryan Rupert, I don't know how to pronounce it. Meshack even. Like, I'm cool with like getting in the mud with Memphis on the guys you normally don't want to play because they're going to play a bunch of minutes and they're all in a really good spot. From the Brooklyn side, it's Wolf and Traore. Those guys look like clearly the two best plays in my eyes. I have a hard time getting away from Wolf with MPJ out at this tag, power forward eligible. Read this book before. He's just productive. He's going to play not a ton, but enough here where he should get there with upside at this tag. Ownership is a little bit scary for someone who's like not likely to play 30 minutes, but the price tag's cheap enough where it's hard for me to get away from him. Mentioned Traore with no Demon. He looks really good in this spot. Claxton at 5,500. Yeah, totally good with him. Zaire Williams and Terrence Mann. Like, I'm never excited about playing those guys, but if there was ever a spot, I don't mind kind of flipping the script and playing more Brooklyn than Memphis, or playing a lot of Brooklyn and a lot of Memphis. I don't know how you get away from this game. I'd much rather overload on this game than underload on this game personally, even if that's what the field's doing. And that's why I get your like Chet Holmgren take, where these guys are going to be really, really owned. So getting like really off the board with one spot, this is the type of slate where that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly my thoughts. Like, only in chalkier lineups, but I'm, I guess, more inclined to like play Chet than I am to play like no Memphis Grizzlies. Again, they have 8 guys at the end of the day.
Or the equivalent of Chet, totally. Like, even if Chet's not your 3% guy, like, there's someone out there totally with you. And to that point, even like the worst 3% guy, if that was Chet, I'd rather play him than fade this game.
For sure. When, man, like, even if we knew Keontae and Ace Bailey are out, which, again, we won't know that news. And that's why if you do get that wrong and you try and play like some of the thinner value on Utah, and you're sacrificing it for the Memphis spot. Like, I'll say, like, your point on Danny Wolf, if 55% ownership projected for 23 minutes with all, like, give me the Memphis stuff over that all day long right now. And if, like, there is no Chet, then Jalen Williams opens up. That ownership probably will go down a little bit, but at ownership, give me Prosper and give me GG Jackson over him all day long right now. I mean, they just don't have bodies. And someone asked Never Ruppert. There can't be never anyone on this. Like, you mentioned you don't like Jalen Wells. You still obviously said you can play him and all that. But the thing with Ruppert is the minutes are fine. The minutes on all these guys are fine. But he just can't keep his hands to himself. 4, 5, 5, and 6 fouls in the last couple of games. Which then, yeah, if you think that happens again, then they're dealing with foul trouble. And there's even a tighter rotation. They just don't have too many bigs. Like, it's a lot of guards. Ruppert's going to have to play some big. Wells is going to have to play a little big because, yeah, I mean, they got Clayton, Spencer, Small. It's a lot of guards right there. I think it's min 2 Memphis. And if I got 5, I don't know. I guess, yeah, what's your min max? If you had 5 Memphis Grizzlies on this slate, are you cool with that? Because then if you're having 5, you're going Jokic. That's where that's maybe can go Shea. Huh?
No, that's the problem. You always
exactly.
Talk about
you're getting
this.
The same build.
You're the same exact, even worse than whatever you mentioned earlier. Oh, it's the Shea and Jokic.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you play 5 Memphis with Jokic. Are people going to do that? I guess is my question to you.
I think some. I think that's like the 150 max stuff. It's going to be more contrarian. 5 Memphis by no means is going to be the most popular. I think 3 to 4 will be the sweet spot for many. And that'll be Small will be one of them in a lot of teams. Cam Spencer will be one of them in a lot of teams. And then from there, one of Prosper, Jackson, and then Clayton. Yep. Actually, I should have said Clayton and Small will be the 2 most popular.
I'll
sure.
play 5. If you don't think if we don't think that like a lot of people are just going to jam 5, I'm happy jamming 5. I like overloading in spots like this. That kind of goes to the point where I said I'd rather overload than underload here. So
you prefer GG Jackson and I guess he's the only one over Oubre and Quentin Grimes, right in that same price range?
I think it's close. I think it's really close. I do prefer GG Jackson because I don't like the Philly guys, but like I wouldn't argue with anyone who liked the Philly guys more, I guess is the best way to put it. The Philly guys project better. Certainly Grimes does. So I get that. I guess my problem with the 5 Memphis thing is like, to me at least, there's like 5 clear guys, and that's the 5 I'd play. With Wells being the 6th. What'd you say?
Sorry, completely different. I thought you were done. Tua to the Falcons. Is that true?
Oh, wow. I've heard that all
Yeah.
day. With
Oh, 1 year, 1.3 million. Oh my gosh.
Because he's already getting paid.
I know. I know.
So, it's the same deal Kyler's going to get. It's just because these guys are already getting paid.
Man. Yeah, 5. I'd be fine with 5, but I do think like I'd need to play like 20 plus teams to even get any, I think, exposure to 5, because you're just, again, you can't really spend all your money after you go 5. You're going to the same build with Jokic and stuff, and then you're saying, all right, all of Brooklyn value has to bust, all of Philly value pretty much has to bust, because they're in the same price range as a lot of those guys. Utah stuff, if there is no Keontae and Ace Bailey like we think, those guys priced in the mid-tier, lower tier just have to not do anything. So I think you're probably biting off a little, hoping for a little too much. So 2 is fine, but I think 3 to 4 is a sweet spot.
Yeah, my biggest issue with 5, what I was starting to say is that to me it's a clear 5. So like Clayton, Small, Spencer, Gigi, and Omax. Like that's the 5 that I would play. And I think that's the 5 a lot of people would play. So you don't even have like a differentiator in the 5. I'd be a lot more intrigued if maybe I played like Meshack instead of Gigi. Or I'll take it a step further, especially if you're playing like a bunch of lineups. I don't think playing 6 is crazy. Like,
okay,
they're running 8 out against Brooklyn, and they're all priced under 6K, most of them under 5K. So
they're favored to win.
They're favored to win. Like, exactly. Probably have a hard time spending your salary if you do that, but no one will do that.
For sure. Multiple people mentioned Day'Ron Sharpe. Claxton's definitely going to get some ownership if you just sort by ownership on the Brooklyn side. So you most definitely get a direct pivot. I mean, the minutes are tough to stomach. He's only center eligible, which means you can't, or you're playing Jokic, but then after Jokic, like you'd have to play Sharpe. Or in non-Jokic builds, you can go Sharpe, but just being center eligible with those minutes is a little tough for me. Granted, again, you do get definitely some leverage off of a popular Claxton, but it's only a $500 difference. He is showing 5.07 point per dollar value on this slate. Not my favorite, but it's a way to get different, I guess, at low ownership. How do you see it?
I like it, actually. Like, okay. I get it, like why you're hesitant because of the minutes, but I think it falls right in line with like your chat point. Like, it's not going to feel good, but that's such a direct, easy pivot. And the close, because their price tags are so close, that means no one's going to play Sharpe. You could literally have very similar builds to a lot of other people. If you have Sharpe over Claxton, it happens to work out in your favor. And if it does, like Sharpe has monster upside, you could have a huge leg up. So I don't think it works out like that. I probably won't play it, but I like the theory.
Yeah. And I like your Traore take. At the end of the day, like, he's showing only 17%. When he's in, the minutes aren't as good as a lot of the Memphis value and all that. But when he's in, he chucks. There's no doubt about that. A high usage guy. I mean, if he gets hot, definitely a way to get a little different as well. Not too much more for me to add right there. Again, Danny Wolf is the clear chalk play on the Brooklyn side. And yeah, Memphis has 8 dudes for whoever asked that. And you got to play them. All right, 2 games left on the slate. Golden State Warriors and the Utah Jazz. We are looking at 6.5 point favorites are the Warriors, 223.5 total in this one. On the Warriors side, no Kristaps, no Al Horford. Will Richard is questionable. On the Utah side, so I misspoke earlier. There's no Collier. That's already confirmed. He's out with an illness. I said questionable, so my bad there. And then Keontae and Ace Bailey are questionable in this one. Rio leads that they're out just by looking or by thinking of their situation. I mean, they're tanking as hard as ever. Unfortunately, they've been tanking pre-All-Star break. It's really annoying. Why would you play your 2 best guys? And if that is the case, this is where some of the value comes in. I think mainly it's a Sensabaugh at 5.6K. Maybe Conchar. I think he'd be a little interesting. EJ Harkless. They would need him for ball handling a little bit. I mean, Filipowski's got a real price tag at 7.8, so I'm not sure that those guys mean too much for him. Maybe Cody Williams. So yeah, how is like the Conchar, Cody Williams, Sensabaugh, EJ Harkless? It's kind of in that Memphis value range. Like, how do you compare them? And I mean, man, if Ace and Keontae play and you're playing these guys, you're not loving it. Let's just say that. Yeah, but I feel pretty. I'm happy Rio feels pretty good about it. I think I would take a chance, even in 3 teams. I think at least in one, at least move the projections, and I can start putting up some numbers here that might look a little more accurate to compare. But I feel pretty strong at least one of them misses, and like why would either play?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they both sit. Like that's my lean. But my biggest problem is, okay, even if they both sit, I don't think the Utah scrubs. I mean, this is like bottom of the barrel scrubs. Like they're not even going to look nearly as good as the Memphis guys, even if Ace and Keontae are out. I think the real edge comes in like playing Keontae if he's in. He's been really good. I don't think he's going to play, but he's a contrarian guy I could get on board with most people not thinking that he's going to play here. Flipping it to go back to what you talked about, like, yeah, all those guys look good. The only guy that I feel even relatively good about is Sensabaugh because he's a guy that can get it done offensively. But man, like, do you trust him in this spot with no one else against Golden State? A team that, like, they're not going to move up in their seeding, but they're not tanking. So, like,
I like EJ. Yeah. I think would be my favorite because that 3.9K price tag, also is like Walter Clayton's 5.3 or that's on FanDuel, but Walter Clayton is 4.6K. Cam Spencer's 4.8K. Small's 5.4K. At least you're in a completely different price range where it gets you on a little different build that way. So I think for that reason, he'd be my favorite. Whereas if Sensabaugh, like if Keontae and Ace are both in or just one of them's in, like there's a lot of guys in that price range that then he has to beat straight up in a vacuum. But he would clearly be the best projected guy. And he would chuck. So sorry, I cut you off. It kind of started clicking. I think Harkless is actually pretty solid to take a risk on.
Yeah, I think that's it though. Like you're taking a risk on him because again, I'll go back to my point. Even if those guys are out, like I don't like Harkless more than I like the Memphis guys, but he'll look a lot better than ownership will imply, and that's all we care about.
Yeah,
especially if we get the news after that Memphis game locks that Keontae's out, Harkless won't be nearly as owned as he should be. So even though I personally don't think that he's a better player than the Memphis guys, I'll ride the low ownership with you. And I will play a little bit where I'll get off a little bit of Memphis and play some more Utah. Because I also like the Golden State side. Certainly Pods, solid look here, cog in the machine type in all formats. Again, guard spots are at a premium, but he's one guy that's why they're at a premium. He looks really, really good here. Melton is a great spot for Golden State. So you want some Warriors exposure. Guy Santos, I know that we've talked about him. You and Rio have talked about him. He's just a solid look. Quentin Post, Draymond Green. Like, I'm not excited about playing Draymond in a spot like this, but Golden State looks good here. So I think playing more of this game than the field, even though like Melton and Pods are going to get owned, is in play on this slate.
Yeah, the 3 clear ones, and I agree. I mean, ownership reflects it is Pods. Actually, I take that back. Not Draymond. I'm not even sure he gets that high owned, but I almost never really love playing Draymond. And in this game where it is only 6.5 points, but they're deep enough where I don't know if they're really going to extend Draymond right now in his minutes. Rio talks about it a little bit last week, but they're kind of locked into where they are, and they're going to need his legs in the postseason. Like, why push him? So not him, but Santos, Melton, and Pods. Pods point guard, shooting guard, but yeah, good fantasy point per minute guy will play the most minutes. A real price tag, but we have enough value on this slate. With that being said, it's not going to really sneak past anyone. Is Pods? It's like kind of the mid-tier guy that multiple people will land on. But Santos and Melton having small forward eligibility is really nice. And yeah, Santos just does it all at the end of the day. 6.5K pivot kind of in the Oubre and Grimes range, and will be lower owned that way. Quentin Post, man, I just like 20 points, which would be really good for 3.5K. Over 5X is salary, almost 6X. It still might not be enough, though, with how solid center is. With if you play in Jokic, you only can play in one other guy. You talked about Sharp. You talked about Claxton. Jalen Williams might have or will have center eligibility if we get there. Bona is a little interesting. And then, like, you kind of have to compare it to Memphis value in the sense of it's not the same position, but there's just so many cheap guys on this slate that like Post has to do something. Like if Prosper goes out there and gets you 32, Small gets you 36, like multiple of these other 4K options completely smash, you're going to need Post to put up a similar score more than likely, even though he is center in a different position that way. So I'm just not sure the upside's really there enough. And he's going to deal with Phil Pikowski down below. Like he is Utah's best player right now, pretty tough in the paint. So I don't love the Post stuff as much. And it's tough for me like Pat Spencer, Gary Payton. Now you're just talking the same range as that Memphis stuff. And I'd rather go somewhere else to get different, like a Chet, like we keep talking. But I don't even love Chet. I want people to make it known. But like it's a low-owned piece to like I prefer Traore even than those guys as well. So I should say that maybe.
Okay, yeah. Now, the only thing I'll say about Post, kind of flip the script on what you said. Filipowski is good offensively, but he stinks defensively. And this game could easily get out of hand if Utah's missing those guys. Like, they stink. They don't have any good players left, really. So, Golden State, they're not amazing, but they're good. So, like, they could easily roll here. And in that case, Post, because I'm with you, you need like 30 plus from him, presuming those Memphis guys all get there, at least somewhat get there. But he's live for more minutes and a big score in this spot. So that would just be my only counter. Not that I'm like going out of my way to play him.
Do you think so? The 6.5 point spread right now, do you think if Keontae and Ace get ruled out, that's going to go like 8.5? Like it feels like it's more baked into me, which again does feel pretty light. But
I don't bet road favorites hardly ever, and I'm not going to start here with Golden State laying 6.5 on the road in Utah. But they're a lock here. Like they are going to roll in this spot, especially if Keontae and Ace are out, namely Keontae. Utah just doesn't have the horses to keep it competitive.
Yeah, and if they do, again, I think it's a lot on the back of Sensabaugh, which if you're playing multiple, if these guys are ruled out and you're playing Pods, Santos, Melton, 2 of the 3, something like that, I would be maybe a little more inclined.
Yeah,
I think EJ Harkless is my favorite. And again, it's really bad. If those guys play, you're not going to love it. But if you do get it right and those guys are out, again, at least EJ's 3.9K, where you compare him to Memphis guys that are all more expensive. So a little different roster construction that way. You're not playing like a 1v1 game.
Totally. And everything's like ownership agnostic for me. So like I view this game a little bit similar to Philly and Cleveland, but I'm more likely to get more pieces of this game because I think it'll be lower owned. As far as like the value goes. So, and the Utah side will be lower owned than Philly. Golden State will be higher owned than Cleveland because of their price tags, but the games look similar to me.
I'm LJ Cryer. Like it just feels, unless Rio got like he put this in the Slate plan and
he's on Golden State.
Yeah, in this game. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unless Rio just has like a crystal ball in this one, you're asking for so much. You're needing a blowout, then you're needing him to get there and blow it, and even then you're needing known value that are playing minutes regardless, like not even to do well. I'd rather play EJ Harkless or the Sensabaugh or Cody Williams or Conchar and like hope you at least get the news in your favor, and then you do know that they're going to have a decent bit more projection that way than I would LJ Cryer.
Give me your boy Chet.
Yeah, all right. Noah Clowney. We think we talked about Clowney, didn't we?
I think we mentioned him in passing. Like,
I mean, there's Sharp, there's Clowney, there's it's pretty.
Sharp is the pivot off Claxton, and Clowney is the pivot off Wolf.
Yeah, there you go. It's a good way to put it. So you wouldn't play Wolf and Clowney together?
I don't think so. No,
I agree. All right, let's take it to the last game of the night. Before we do so, just want to let everyone know, plenty watching, 360 people. Hope everyone out there having a great Monday. Appreciate the support. All we ask is like button, subscribe button. But if you're not a member at the Nation and you do want to join, you can get in as low as $9. ShipItNation.com. Join the Nation. Again, right here, you get SaberSim, projections, ownership, access to all sports. Just no Discord. The better deal, 5 days for $19 does get you access to the Discord. A lot of familiar faces in the YouTube chats in there. Get you SaberSim and all of the sports up here. Players, huge for PGA. Contests are massive. That'll take you through here. I just got a notification. Lee posted his course fit rankings. Always one of my first stops in the PGA streets. Does an awesome job. Also got our man Matt, boots on the ground, Tambo, Hoop. Check that out for sure. MMA, it's back this week. NASCAR, well, it was last week too. Shout out to Charles Oliveira made it look easy. NASCAR, big prizes on Sunday. NHL going on. If you do just want NBA content to finish it out, we do have single sport options. You can click NBA and get in as low as $29. Definitely make sure to check out Rio's thoughts in the slate plan right here, but I will definitely be keeping that private for the people. Last game of the nights, the best game. OKC Denver will be pretty good, but a real good real life game for sure. 2.5 point favorites are the Knicks over the Clippers. 220.5 total in this one on the Knicks side. Mitch Rob is doubtful on the Clippers side. No John Collins and no new injuries there. The problem is it's a great real life game, but it's two healthy teams. It's a competitive game, and all the pricing, like the pricing's efficient on both sides. With all that being said, though, this is a game, like we keep bringing up chat, a way to get different. Like I am totally fine going to multiple of these pieces in this game as pieces to get different. And the smaller the slate, the more you can hope to bink OT. If you're not playing Jokic and Jamal's in, like this is, I mean, you have to spend your money somewhere at the end of the day. Obviously, you can go Shea, but this is the other game that you can spend. Kawhi 9-8, Brunson 9-1, Towns 8-6. But the OGs, the Josh Harts, the Matherns of the world, Bridges right there. Like I'm fine getting to some of these in very chalky lineups as a way to get different. It's not going to project rates. When you play it, you should be playing it with a lot of Memphis pieces. And yeah, you hope the game stays close like it's supposed to, and you might think OT, and those extra 5 minutes can go a long way. But yeah, ownership is not going to this game, which might surprise many if you just open the slate and look at the spreads, you look at the teams. Yeah, it's not getting there. But in March DFS, injuries trump all. And yeah, it's pretty much two fully healthy teams.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, the reason that this game is appealing is not because it's some great game environment or anything like that, but it's got really good players in it. And on a slate with a lot of value, it's likely that one or two or three, one or two most likely are going to get there because there's really good players in this game. So Knicks are coming off an ugly loss yesterday. I kind of like the idea of going back to like a Brunson or a Cat if you can make it work. Like it's tough on this slate, and that's why they're going to be really low owned. Kawhi on the other side. A guy that's really appealing to me also, and it's, again, really tough on this slate, is Darius Garland. Coming off a good game, not playing like full minutes, but he's a microwave. Like he can get there in limited minutes. I'm not going to play him on this slate, but he's just a name to watch out for. So all in all, like there's not one guy in particular I'm like, I need to play, but I like your point of like playing a really good player in this game that's going to be low owned on the slate with a lot of chalk.
Mute donkey, my bad. Cat has been a name that I haven't clicked in so long. He's just, I mean, he's playing his role a lot better. It's obviously Brunson's team, but they got Bridges, they got Hart, OG. He's taking a bigger offensive step, but with Mitrop going to miss this game, and just looking at it, like Niederhauser, with him out for the Clippers, that was a big loss. But now they got Big Brook Lopez down low. Jackson's a little better defender for sure, but I mean, Brook is way, way too slow for Cat in this spot. And just being center eligible, if you're playing Jokic Cat, that's a way to get different on the slate since people will want some more value. If you're not playing Jokic, spending for Cat, again, I think when people don't go Jokic, they're going to fall more in the Prosper range or just more value centers. I think Cat's an interesting play on the side. I do prefer him to Brunson, and he'd be my favorite Nick. After that, I think it would just be one of OG, Hart, Bridges. They can all have their games. They're going to play a good amount of minutes. It's supposed to be competitive. And on the Clippers side, I mean, it's probably Kawhi. But what are your thoughts on like Isaiah Jackson? Like for me, like this is not a Brook Lopez game. I think he's just going to be too slow. He's going to be eaten alive, and they might have to go to a more athletic big in Jackson earlier than they might want, and his minutes might be underprojected a bit. So like I think I actually like Jackson more than Post, which might be a hot take there, but you think there's a chance you click Isaiah Jackson if you were playing 10 teams, which I know is more than you usually play?
Yeah, definitely. Under 4K projects for 20-ish fantasy points. There's use for him on this slate for sure. I guess here I'll flip it right back to you. If Keontae's out, Jackson or your boy Harkless, is that easy Harkless for you? Because I think it's Harkless, but I think it's close.
I'd probably go Harkless. I don't necessarily know about easy, but again, I know a lot of my teams will just have Jokic by default, just because. I mean, you can have the Jalen Williams narrative going. They're going to need him in this spot. 6.5 point dogs. Like he's going to play a whole lot of minutes. He's the fantasy king, and you can easily spell. Like I prefer him to Shea, and once it's after Shea, like none of these guys even get close to projecting as well as him. So Harkless mainly for the position stuff, and I do like when you are playing EJ Harkless, you're more than likely having to leave out one of the Memphis guards to get, and that's like a really big decision on this slate to get different. So I do feel a little better about it that way. Whereas most of my Jackson teams, he's going to be in the util spot. Then he has to do something. He's competing with more stuff because he's just center eligible. But yeah, I mean, I
guess that was my question though. Like in the util spot, Harkless or Jackson?
Yeah, I'd go Harkless personally.
Okay, yeah,
I guess that's a pivot. Like just say you plug in Harkless, or not a pivot. That's a swap. You plug in Harkless to start at 5.
Totally good call.
8:30 Eastern. Keontae and Ace are in. Well, shoot. All right. I have Jackson right there. Same price tag, right in the util. Easy game that way. So that is what I would do.
Harkless if Keontae's out, or Watford?
Harkless.
I agree. And I think Watford will be higher owned. Even if we get the Keontae news after lock, I think that Watford will be higher owned. I'm with you.
Yeah, the more we keep talking about this slate, the more Harkless looks more and more appealing. But again, you're really hoping that Keontae and Ace are out, because obviously there's no Collier too. Like they'd be thin at the guard position, and I would like to put him at util though. Like if you have him at guard and you're playing another center, like if you want Jokic, Towns, and then Harkless, you can't just go Jackson right there 1v1 for Harkless. You know what I'm saying? Because you need him in the util. That means you'd have Harkless at guard. You already are using Jokic as locked in center, Cass at util. Obviously, then I'd probably take Cat out and then go Jackson at util and upgrade Harkless from somewhere at guard to somewhere else. But if you're hand building, if you're only playing multiple teams, think about that on this slate. If you are plugging in Harkless or Sensabaugh or Cody Williams or whatever it may have you, think about if the news goes the opposite way of what you think, how can I pivot where I'm getting a lot more projection points right now with how it's currently projected than just drawing dead. Like if you're playing Sensabaugh and Harkless in your teams and those are the only two spots you have left at the end of the night and those guys are ruled in, you're giving up way too much at the end of the day. So a lot easier to do when only making a handful of teams than when you're 150ing with Saber and stuff. And that's where it can get tricky for sure.
I just saw that it came out 3 minutes ago. Seth Curry is available to play. I read that as Steph Curry at first, and I was like, "Oh God, why?" But
Will Richard is out.
Yeah,
we did get that news.
So
I don't know how much that necessarily changes.
It doesn't change anything. It just makes all the Golden State guys like. It doesn't hurt any of the Golden State guys that are in, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But to your point, I don't think there are many good pivots like after most of the game locks from Harkless at the guard position. I think Jackson is the guy. So having Harkless at utility makes a lot of sense if you can, make it work.
I think you just have to have $200 and go Jordan Miller at 4.1K. Like you at least know he's going to play. I mean, Sabres got him right there. 23 minutes. I don't love it. I wouldn't like it, but I'd prefer Jordan Miller than I would Harkless if I knew that Keontae and Ace Bailey were playing. Now, if Keontae was out and Ace Bailey played, I still think it's probably Harkless. But I do think I'd try and probably leave 200. Like, who else are you looking at? Shamit? Like, no thanks.
That's it. Honestly, that's the only guy. I'll never play him, but like, yeah, you are, because who else is there? At that point, honestly, you might just have to play Harkless. Like, and hope that Keontae plays like 20-some minutes, which is certainly in play, or that they like play. Like, you do have Collier out, so like.
You'd prefer Harkless to Jordan Miller if you had, like, straight up, assuming Keontae and if Ace and Keontae were in?
Especially because I think this game probably gets out of hand regardless. Yes, but like I get it. Like there's more minute security in Miller. So like I wouldn't fault you for making that pivot. I don't think I would go like if I were playing Harkless, I don't think I would be like I have to have 200 left is the best way for me to say it. But if I did have 200 left, I wouldn't mind anyone who pivoted.
Someone asked about Svi. I'm not even seeing Svi in 150. I mean, I'm not sure you can get to Svi. So let's see. He's 3.2K. I take that back. He's on Utah. They're not even projecting him right now. But if there's no Keontae, the problem with Svi here, let me see if I can unfilter this so we can actually look at the guy we're talking. He's on Utah, 3.2K. The problem with Svi is because of his price tag. If you get that news wrong, I mean, you very well might get like a 0. Like there's like no pivots. But Real thinks they're out. I don't know why they would play. 3.2K is a completely different price tag.
It all comes full circle. You know who the pivot might be?
Who?
LJ Crier.
Oh my God. What's his nuts is out. Richard's out. What are your thoughts? I mean, Svi, if Keontae and Ace are out, yeah, Svi's in play at 3.2K. Like he is. The thing is, when you play him, you're playing Jokic for sure. Then you can maybe play Shea or a Kawhi or a Cat. Like it gets you on a different build. I mean, he's a fine NBA player. Like the dude, when he's out there, he actually shoots the ball. He chucks deep. If he gets hot, he can put up maybe 25 or something. Yeah, I would keep him in my 150. I would. But, man, the pivots – the problem is when you're 150 and you're manually projecting Svi at like 17, like it's really hard to look at all those lineups with Svi in your 150. And then some of them like might just be Svi. And then it's like, oh, shoot. All right, these guys are in. Now you're getting someone that – I mean, right now is projected for next to nothing, no playing time, and then there's no pivot that way. So – I'd really want to look at the Svi teams and have an idea like a pivot's there. But yeah, if they're out like we think, I think Svi's in play. Some of these other Utah guys might be in play too. Like I said, Cody Williams, Conchar. I don't know, actually, after that. We already talked about Harkless and Sensabaugh. Yeah, you know what? Svi's in play. I think so. Any thoughts for you? I don't know if you're on mute or it doesn't show you're on mute, but your mic might have.
That was rookie mistake. Happens to the best of us, as you can attest to. Man, I never want to play Svi, and I'm leery of the 26 minutes he played last game. He's coming off 2 back-to-back good games.
I mean, he just chucks from deep, 8 threes, 7 threes. Like he's always been the same guy.
He's like a legit DMP CD any night.
Yeah,
so you know that going in, but. Not going to get owned. I think this game could easily blow out. If you have Keontae out, like, I mean, shit, if you have Keontae out, like, I don't think that Harkless is that much of a better play. I think he's a safer play for sure. But upside-wise, yeah, Svi got to be in play.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I would get some Svi. That's a good call. That's something I overlooked a little bit. Again, that's only assuming Keontae and Ace Bailey are out. But that'd be those two, and then Collier, like they'd be really thin at the guard position. Not like they want to win games anyway. You're going to see some more random guys show up. Definitely pivots off of that Memphis stuff, guards as well. And no one's priced at 3.2K. Like we keep talking about Memphis being cheap, which obviously they are. But let me X out of here. No one's below 4K on the team, and the guys that are getting played 4.6K, 4.8, 5.4K. So we're comparing them kind of, but I mean, Svi's way cheaper.
Svi's the type of guy, if you're playing Jokic and Shea together, it makes a lot of sense.
For sure. I mean, yes, Svi starts. I mean, I'm not going to say slam dunk. I don't know if Svi's ever slam dunk, but almost a slam dunk at ownership because people aren't, unless we got the news right now. But assuming the first like 7:30 Eastern games lock, and there's only 2 games left on the slate, at ownership, like I think Svi would be a slam dunk because I think it is getting overlooked more than most people think.
It'll be really hard to get to him, which is why, because you'll have guard spots all locked up, and
he's so cheap. Like you're already gonna have the cheap Memphis salary.
You're not gonna leave salary on the board just to play Svi. So at that point, yeah, I mean it makes a lot of sense. I get it. I dig it.
I do not have too much more to add. I guess just the last thing to wrap up this Svi conversation is if I am playing him, I'd want multiple people in the late games. And like, again, Jordan Miller, Isaiah Jackson Obviously, we already talked about Harkless at 3.9, but like those are the value plays that I think you can. I mean, yeah, Shamet would have to be somewhat in play too at 3.8K, but like those are the guys that you would need the cheap values to pivot off. You don't, if Ace and Keontae are in, you don't want to play Svi. Like the dude very well might get a 0. You want some guys that at least have some chance to get some minutes. So yeah, just play around with it and have some pivots available. But and yeah, important Q tags. Chet, Jamal Murray, and then the Keontae and Ace Bailey stuff is important on this slate. Should get Jamal Murray and Chet pretty early, hopefully before this first game. And yeah, I think it's relatively clear. But late game, getting no ownership. Philly's pretty difficult. Cleveland is even more difficult. Denver, OKC, just the spends for the most part. Memphis, Brooklyn, load up on. And then, yeah, I think the biggest edge could be the Utah stuff. If you think of the Q takes miss, I would kind of project it that way. Definitely get in the Discord too. Pick Rio's brain. He has Slate playing up, NBA Slate playing. He's a Utah guy, himself. That's his hometown team or his favorite team. He spent some time in Utah and California. But yeah, definitely pick his brain about thoughts if they're out. Who does that benefit? What does that do on this slate? I think that is where the edge could be. Any final thoughts from you? Congrats again. 17.5K chopping first place in the 555 yesterday. Hopefully you can run it back today. The prizes are a little bigger on this Monday. And yeah, that'd be quite the payday. But yeah, final thoughts before we get on out here.
Yeah, a little bit of a different slate tonight in terms of contests on DK, going from like a 200-person 555 to a 1,500-person 222. But hey, they come in all shapes and sizes, right? So we'll take it however we can get it. Hopefully get to the top tonight. If it's not me, hopefully it's someone who's watching the show or one of our members. So the one thing that's sticking out to me of all the things we talked about is the Christian Brown call. I love that call if Jamal Murray is out.
I like it. That's a great way to end it. If you do want Matt's core NBA core report, you can also find Rio's, Hams, my cash report, DVP rankings. Check that out. Just all numbers, automated base, no bias in there. And then showdown content. If you don't want to stick around for all of these games early and you can't, our man Little Neck will have you covered. NBA showdown slate plan for the late game. We'll be back tomorrow, Rio and myself, talking some hoops. Great stuff as always, Matt. Good luck to everybody out there. For Matt, I'm Titletown. Be safe. Good luck. Peace.